Welcome everyone to our
Sorry, I
last
just got here. My
of
camera is not
decade.
really working. That's me.
Okay, no problem. Welcome to our last edition of the decade of Wine and Whiskey Wednesday. And I know I don't have the proper glass. Does anybody have a proper glass? We've got eggnog, we've got coffee. Steve is representing wine. Cool.
There you go. Good
Wine
boy.
and Suzanne is trying to come
Otter
in.
starts with W.
Yes.
Might be straight tequila. You'll never know.
Yeah, see, we never know what's in Brad's.
Exactly.
It is our last wine and whiskey of the decade, of the year. We are not doing it Christmas Day. We're not doing it New Year's Day. So we're going to see you all January the 8th, I think it is. Yes. Hey, Suzanne, how are you? So tonight we have a special guest with us as well. Well, we always have a special guest. We always have, all of you guys are special, and so we appreciate it. But we asked Tammatha Denyes to join us tonight to share some of the stories. Maybe we'll just sit back and chat and have some stories. Because we know, some of you may know that Tammatha purchased a new bookkeeping firm. It was August, September, somewhere in there?
It was in September.
And you may know that Tammatha was, and I have to say was, 100% cloud prior to the purchase of this new firm. And this new firm was not cloud.
Absolutely not cloud at all.
And so since we know that there are so many people that are either on the journey, moving to cloud, or struggling with making the move, or thinking about making the move and maybe haven't, or bringing on team members that haven't worked in the cloud and don't have that experience. We thought it would be a great conversation to have with Tammatha if she could share some of the challenges that she's faced, as well as how she's overcome them. Feel free to jump in, ask questions as well. I'm pretty sure, I guess I should leave that to you to say, feel free to jump in asking questions just in case you don't want to answer any questions.
Well, it's an open book forum. Let's put it that way. I will preface this with, it is still a journey. It is still a work in progress. And by no means are we even close to saying that we are where I want it to be. Give me 9 more months.
So you think it will be a year-long process?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's surprisingly enough, I wasn't expecting some of the challenges that I'm still facing today, starts
with telling us. So the firm that you bought has 13 people, 14 people. I believe
we have 15 staff members in the new firm.
Not counting what you had.
That's correct.
Okay. So 15 new staff members, and their firm was 100% desktop products, or was there any QBO, any cloud, nothing in there?
Well, they did have 4 cloud subscriptions, and they reactively supported them.
Okay. So it wasn't that they were doing ongoing bookkeeping or anything. It was they were treating it as though it was a desktop client.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just so that everyone kind of has a background. So what was the first thing that you did when you went in there? Because you obviously knew all of this before you bought them.
I did. And believe it or not, I sat back for 2 months and observed. There's a lot of resistance when someone has been taught desktop and has practiced desktop for years. And when you come in with these, and I quote, newfangled ideas, and no, that doesn't work, and you get a lot of the closed arms. And so I sat back and I let people get to know me, observe me, listen to the conversations I had with my current and existing team. And it took 2 months for the first person to come to me and say, I have a problem. Can you help me? And that's how the journey started. So I think the first success for me was in November. It was the first week of November. And one of our team members, I found out inadvertently, was struggling. And the only reason I found out was because I was interviewing each and every one of these new team members to see who they were bookkeeping for, what were the tasks that they were accomplishing, what were the milestones that they had to meet on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. And by chance, I learned that one of our team members was a year behind on a client. And that's exactly what I did, Jacqueline. I coughed and choked on it and said, "Oh, that must change."
And sorry, how?
And that's when I had a conversation with a year.
Wow. Okay.
That was a better response than I had.
Okay. Okay. So when you went in there, and was it the same office space that you were sharing with the new firm, with your existing firm, or they were still in two separate offices?
Two separate offices. We're still in two separate offices today.
Okay. So you don't have the benefit of them seeing how your existing team works. So they're still in their self-enclosed little space.
They are, but there are ways that you can introduce the cloud inadvertently.
Okay.
So, for example, Slack is a fantastic way to start the conversation. I installed Slack on everyone's computer. I actually loaded it and didn't tell them. And it was awesome. I went in and added everybody, and then I just walked away, and then I started Slacking people. And they were like, "Oh, what's this?" And all of a sudden I started getting a little bit of buy-in, a little bit of smiles. It was a new toy. They liked it. And my team started to both teams started talking to each other.
Okay.
And it was a good start. It was a minor, small, tiny change, but it started to open the doors a little bit more. There was no phone calls. There was no emails. It was just talking on Slack. How do I do this? Why are you doing that? Let's look at customers over here. And it took about 3 weeks, but they started to feel a little more comfortable.
Awesome.
And that was actually the open door. That's what opened the door for us.
And are you looking to migrate those clients over to QBO, or that's kind of your year-long time frame?
Some clients, Juliet, will migrate. The way this company is set up is, I would say 70% of the businesses don't even know that they're on Sage. They don't care.
Okay.
They get statements occasionally, usually once a year.
They don't care.
Okay.
They just don't care. And those are the clients that we're going to transfer over.
Yeah. Yeah. If it doesn't matter to them, and there are certainly business owners that, it's the end result that matters to them, not the tools that get you there. So
exactly. Now, there is going to be, I would say, 20% that are going to stay on Sage based on my review.
Okay.
And that turns us now into a multi-platform practice.
Were you not already? I thought you were supporting Xero and QBO.
We had one client in Xero, and it was, we were proud to say we were cloud-based 100%.
Yeah.
And any desktop platforms, we actually referred out, but this is now something that we are not going to do.
Okay. So that's obviously a business decision that you've made.
It is.
So are you going to have a desktop team and a cloud team, or are you going to intermingle them?
We are going to have two practices. One is going to focus solely on cloud, and the other one is going to focus on desktop and taxes.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to imagine, and this is what's going to be very surprising, so I hope everyone is sitting down. Last year, there was 6,938 taxes completed by this practice.
Wow.
In 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
A moment of silence.
I had a moment of tears.
It's called a heart palpitation.
Yeah, it was a lot of anxiety when I saw that number, to be honest. But respectfully, they're very good at what they do. Their systems for the tax processing is bar none anything I've ever seen before. They have it down to a fine art, and it's something that I'm looking forward to actually seeing this spring.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I guess something for all of us to think about is that we don't always have the answers, and that we can, some people do go into, and especially if you have purchased a firm or you've hired new people, is thinking that you have all the answers, but maybe the people coming in are going to come at it with a different perspective. Or in the case of like your tax process, and your tax process was pretty slick at TD Accounting. So if you're impressed by this new one and are looking to see what you can learn from it, then that says a lot about the process that they had. So yeah, absolutely. So does anyone have any questions for Tammatha so far on her journey or specific to her journey? Jennifer.
My question, and I don't know if I've asked you this in person, but what inspired this purchase? Because it's a really big step to do something like this. And it's a lot of moving parts to make the decision. And then once you make the decision, to determine which company is the right one for you to acquire.
Without getting into too many personal details, most people know we had a bit of a family situation a few years ago, which made me reevaluate a lot of things. One of which was my direction. And I felt prior to these 2 years, it wasn't that I was just chugging along and everything was fine, but I decided I needed to leave a legacy.
Okay.
And that's what started the search for the right practice. It wasn't looking to see who had something for sale. It was finding an owner who was ready to retire, that had the same business ideals, the same thought processes, the same mentality that I had, that our customers are not the be all to end all, but we want them to succeed. They're not just a number. And I was very, very happy to know someone who was looking to retire. I didn't expect that. And I had mentioned to this person that I was looking to acquire, and just out of the blue, she had said, "So would you consider my firm?" And that's what started this 2-year journey, which now has turned into me looking for more firms. So our journey is not over. We are going to be learning from this experience, documenting, which everybody knows is one of my favorite things, and taking that experience and then replicating it at least 5 more times.
Well, then congratulations. So exciting when you find something that just drives you that you have to do more of. So congratulations, Tammatha.
I can't believe
I'm so proud. I really, really am. This is excited, actually, Juliet. There's a real need for me to help other businesses if they're willing to adopt and to adapt this technology. And I think I've said it for a few years now. I'm passionate about that. And some people are just not there. And respectfully, I understand. But there are businesses that are now coming to me that are saying, there's people here that don't understand. And I'm just going to turn off my video, guys. I am in the country. I apologize. There we go. Might take my instability away a little bit. There's businesses out there that really want this technology, and there's very few practices, not practitioners, but practices that are offering this type of service.
Okay. Very cool.
Like I know just in our area, as you're well aware, Jenny, myself, and Tanya
Yeah.
proactively support. There's 20 bookkeepers in our area, and there's only 3 that proactively support.
Oh, I can't believe there's 20 bookkeepers in your area.
Yeah. And that's Picton, Belleville, Trenton. In our general vicinity,
Okay.
there's 3 that I'm well aware of in the Kingston area.
And there's only 3 of you. Okay. Well, and I think we're going to see that trend changing and that number increasing. I think it was the first year at QB Connect that there were a lot of people who, in previous years, it was their first time. They'd never heard of the cloud. They weren't making that journey. But I think this time there were a lot more people who had started the journey, weren't done by any stretch. I mean, I'm not sure there's anyone that's going to be done on this cloud journey for a while. But I think that the numbers of those bookkeepers that are either on the journey, and it's being driven by the business owners. I can't remember the last time that we had someone who came in inquiring on desktop. Now, it might be that all over our website, it now says QuickBooks Online, but it didn't used to matter before. We used to say QuickBooks Online and cloud, and they would still get desktop. But now the business owners are coming, and they're coming with QuickBooks already in place. So it'll be interesting to see what the next couple of years looks like. Hey, Matthew.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, so any other questions for Tammatha? Specific questions, either about her journey or...
So did I hear you correctly, Tammatha, when you said it was 2 years from the time you decided you wanted to buy another firm to the time you found it and actually acquired it?
That is exactly it, Steve, 2 years. There's a number of challenges that you have to look at when you're purchasing a firm that is not of your genre. One of them is change management. And that's unfortunately a large part of the hesitation. A number of the customers were going to be and were and still are somewhat resistant to change, not including the employees that are there that are older and again, resistant. So it's showing them that you're not here to do a overbearing, overreaching, this is going to change and this is my way or the highway, but it's an amalgamation of 2 different worlds that you have to very carefully navigate and make everyone feel as part of the team, part of the solution, and allow them to realize that you're not here to force them out of a job, replace them with technology, and at the same time, give them the tools that they need to feel like they're making a difference in someone else's lives. Yeah. It's a very fine line to walk. I'm learning daily where it is I can walk and where it is I have to stop.
And is there a fair bit of, I mean, one of the things that we always talk about and that you hear all the time is that, you know, as you're scaling, what you need to do is create repeatable processes, right? So that everyone is doing things the same way, then you get your duplication of staff support, and that's the way that you scale. So if you're looking to have now a desktop firm and a cloud firm, are you not looking to take all the things that you've built in TD accounting and try and leverage them in this new firm, or only?
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. There's so much that we've been able to create in TDA that can be transferred or is transferable. It's just a point of carefully introducing them. So as an example, 98% of the clients are Sage.
Right.
And all data entry is manually done with no form of automation. They've never heard of auto entry. They've never seen Receipt Bank in their life. There's resistance.
Yeah.
As a great example, I have been pushing to have auto entry, subtly pushing to get auto entry into the firm since, I would say, October. We installed it today.
Okay.
So it's little things. When you see somebody sitting there manually looking at receipts and using Excel to tape them.
Yeah.
Okay, I kid you not. And I stared and I watched this person do that. And I asked what I thought was the most interesting question. What are you doing? And they said, I'm adding these up. And all I could do was just watch. And this person spent 15 minutes doing something that I wouldn't even contemplate doing today.
Yeah.
You know, giving them different ways to better utilize their time. We did that in TDA, and now I'm giving that to QBA. And now they can expand their minds. They can either increase their personal development. They can bring on clients that they want to talk with or work with, or straight out focus on the things that they think are going to better establish themselves in their industry.
Okay.
Certification, Juliet, oh my goodness, I kid you not, nobody is certified in anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you said that your first step of introduction was Slack.
It was Slack.
What do you think your second one? Well, so auto entry you've introduced. Are you looking to? So you use Arrow, I believe, for your practice management.
We do, and we have just uploaded all of the clients from the new firm into Arrow. And January 6th, when we come back to the office, everyone will be Arrow certified because I said so.
Okay, very cool.
Because I said so.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so so Slack is the first one, and then the practice management.
Exactly.
Is the second one.
And the reason we chose Arrow as being our first really large, major change was because of that employee letting me know about work not being completed for a year. And this client was expecting reconciliations to be done on a monthly basis.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I needed to feel comfortable that the clients were being serviced.
Yeah. Well, you
at
need
a minimum.
and with there being more people, you need a way for oversight of some sort.
And that's part of it. I mean, there was a time, Juliet, when you had said, you grow to a size, or I believe it was you grow to a size where you don't know all of your clients anymore.
Yeah.
And I see that now. But I still have to feel confident that we are not dropping the ball somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And not knowing all of your clients personally, intimately on a first name basis, and that you know who their spouses are and their kids are and what their hobbies are is different than making sure that the work is still getting done. Two completely different things.
And both are, at one time I could tell you every client, and now I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's impossible.
So congratulations. You may not think that that's a big deal, but that's a big deal.
It is a very big deal.
I just want to make sure that I need to feel confident that our clients are being serviced. And right now, my confidence level is not there. But the introduction of Arrow is going to give me that confidence level because I've been using it for long enough now that I know how to oversee. But now it's going to be on a scale that's 3 times larger than what I'm used to.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is the first step to, I guess, scaling. Maybe that's not the first step, but it is an ultimate result of scaling, is that you can't know every client and you can't know everything that you do for every client.
No, it's
Jennifer,
impossible.
You have a question?
I do have a question. So, Tammatha, before you, I guess, finalized this deal in the fall, had you already pulled yourself out and were doing no more work in your business, just working on your business? Because I feel like to make the transition that you've just made, you can't possibly still be providing bookkeeping services, could you? Yourself?
No, I've not been bookkeeping now for, I preface with intentional bookkeeping
Yes.
for the last 9 months, I would say. There's been the odd case here or there, a complex cleanup job that my team couldn't handle. Those types of fun projects I still enjoy, but I have pulled myself out entirely.
And how did that feel? Was that easy for you to do? Was that difficult? What advice would you give for someone else?
It's a mindset. It's definitely a mindset. It's something that I still struggle with. I think it's something that I'm going to grow into because I've spent a number of years getting my hands dirty, and to pull myself away from that type of hands-on, intimate knowledge, it's almost like letting go. So at times you feel lonely, but I'm adjusting very, very quickly.
Matthew, you have a question? Go ahead.
Actually, I want to strengthen that. It's, for me, on a whole different level, but because we have our back end support team, and the only reason I'm able to do the things I do in social media and all these other things is because we've developed a structure behind us to help take control or like handle a lot of that. And it was really, really hard and really uncomfortable to go through.
And really horrible.
Why was it horrible?
Because you make these relationships and these connections and you have to actually pull back from them. Okay. And so when they are calling to you to ask for assistance on things, you have to, in a sense, pass the buck. And if you're a hands-on, you want to help somebody, that's against your nature, but you have to try to let go that way. Would you agree, Tammatha? I mean,
I have a new phrase. It's called delegate and disappear.
Which is really hard for our industry, right? Because when we're up here and we're talking with people love to try to point out if, oh, well, they're not even doing this stuff anymore. Like they're not even in touch with it. Well, the goal out of all of this, I believe for all of us, is to mature our business, to be able to step out and away from it. We still have ways that we put our hands into the mix, but if we're trying to evolve out of it, why should that be devalued as long as you're staying in touch with the technology?
And I'm not sure that everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to hire a team and pull themselves out. For some people, that is, the hands-on is what they want to be able to do. I think that if you choose to, then absolutely. It is, I think it's as much value to be on the outside and not necessarily doing the day-to-day, even though, but again, like you said, being able to stay in touch so that you still know what's going on. If again, you choose to, it's what you want to do for your business. So there's two things in this last couple comments that I'd like to draw attention to. So Tammatha, you said that you have found it very lonely. Please tell us why. Why do you, because that's obviously a transition from the firm that you had before to this new addition, and you're changing in the change in your role. But why do you find it? It was just an interesting choice of words.
When it was just the three of us, it was a family with, I don't know, 30 clients, 250 tax clients. You knew everybody and their dog. You watched the dog walk down the street. You had treats for the dog. And now I'm seeing things a little differently. I'm not seeing it as, here's me running a company with 2 team members and doing a really great job. I will say we have fantastic processes, but I'm seeing things in a more scalable way. I do want to continue growing. So now it's looking at the structure of the business, and I'm seeing a CEO at the top with managers who report to the CEO and team members that are below them. So it's a completely different structure. Yeah. It's something that I'm not accustomed to. And it's something that I'm adjusting to be honest. It's lonely.
But that's why you have all of us out here
Well, thank God for you guys.
as well. because the dynamic changes.
Oh, and Ray's pouting, he says, and thank God for him too.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're nodding, honey.
but the dynamic changes between you and your team as your team gets bigger, and especially as you add, a team leader, a middle manager, or you create pods of teams, whatever that looks like. Your role does significantly change. And
it does.
It's whether or not it's a business decision. Some people want that role, and some people don't. But no, absolutely drawing attention that it is a completely different role and it can be lonely. I agree. I mean, I think that if I didn't have Steve, it would be the same way. Steve is a big part of my sanity.
I know that there's a lot of things that I want to change, and there is going to be different divisions, I'm calling them right now. There's certain members of our team that are just absolutely fantastic at Sage and QuickBooks Online and trust tax reporting, corporate reporting, troubles with CRA. These are all things that they're really fantastically, this is what they do. This is what drives them every day. And I want to continue on that vein where we find people, other businesses that have that same type of passion and just keep building this, might I say, conglomerate?
Yep. No, absolutely.
And
cool.
Yeah, you know what? It isn't for everybody, but this is the passion that I have, and this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I am stuck in the mire. I am stuck in the weeds, and it feels like I'm dragging mud through my toes right now because the previous owner was still hands-on. And she did work 12 hours a day. Yeah. And with her pulling away, someone's got to fill that void for the short term. So I am carrying on 15-hour days right now. It's called growing pains. Yeah, it is. And every day I have this one phrase that I keep saying, what is the one thing I can do today that's going to change my tomorrows? So every day I do something that's pulling me out of the muck and the mire.
Yeah.
It's usually a small step, but within these 9 months, with the projections, the goals, the milestones that we're meeting on a monthly, daily, weekly basis, we will be in a really good position where we can start looking at the next firm.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so that was the first comment that you made that I wanted to dive a little deeper into. The second one was where you said that your new phrase is delegate and disappear. And Steve, I'm going to call on you for this one because I know you have your own delegate phrase that you like to use. So I thought it might be an interesting discussion. Would you like to share your phrase, Steve?
I have so many of them. I honestly don't know which one you're referring to.
The one that relates.
But I do think it's interesting that I was thinking a very similar thing when Tammatha talked about that, and I had actually written down a question. So go ahead, and it'd be interesting to see if your question is exactly the same as mine.
You're married. It's not supposed to be.
No, so Steve always, and I don't even remember, so it goes to show that I don't always listen to
Don't always pay attention? Is that what you're...
Yes. Because it took a long time for me with our business coach for me to delegate. And Steve has this phrase, because what I was doing was I was delegating and then walking away. And okay, here, I've delegated to you, now it's your responsibility, and I'm done. So I was doing what Tammatha is saying, delegate and disappear. And you have a phrase though, Steve, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, really, that's not delegation, is it? That's called abdication.
That's it, abdication. That was the term I was looking for.
Abdication.
And one of the great dangers, and we made this mistake as we were growing, what you find as you're growing is you find yourself having to delegate more and more to more and more people. And you have to be very careful that when you do delegate something, you don't then abdicate. In other words, you delegate it, but you make very sure that what you've delegated and who you have delegated it to understands exactly what it is you need them to do, understands
Absolutely.
the role,
Yep.
understands the task, rather than go and do this that they've never done it before and then they mess it up. You can't get angry with them because you abdicated the responsibility of it. You didn't delegate it. So I think there's
Absolutely.
a huge difference. And like I say, I speak from personal experience. I was once a great abdicator, and I have tried to become a much better delegator.
See, and I
I'm
agree with
still a
you
really
there.
bad abdicator a lot of times.
See, I don't abdicate. Delegating for me is taking those processes that we have absolutely finessed with TDA, and they are transferable in a lot of cases.
Mhm.
Taking those processes, bringing them in-house, introducing them slowly so they don't feel like there's been this absolute 180 degree change. But at the same time, those are the tools that they need so that they feel comfortable and confident in what they can bring to the table. A great example is the new receptionist that's been hired. Wonderful lady, 50 something years old, very secure in her environment, but couldn't for love nor money answer a phone with a smile on her face.
Would you like a
Just
great
can't do it.
title for her, Tammatha? Sorry to interrupt. I have a great title
By
for
all
you.
means.
Director of First Impressions.
Well, sweetheart, I wish her first impressions had a smile.
But maybe if you
She's
give her that
such-
title,
she's-
then
I like that one because it gets
Yep.
the point across. It subliminally is telling that person, you're the first
Your role
impression.
is not your role is not receptionist. It is Director of First Impressions.
Somebody needs the new business card. I'm actually writing this down. See, even I still learn today. It's an ever-learning experience.
Awesome. You know, I wish I could remember who I stole that from so I could give them credit.
Dan. It was Dan.
Was it?
It was Dan.
I've heard it. I've heard it other places too.
Yeah.
Director of First Impressions. Was it whenever it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago when suddenly titles were the new big thing that everybody gave out? It was included in that mix. Director of First Impressions. They had all kinds for different troubleshooting, right? Everybody got fancy titles and no raises.
Yeah, it might have been a Patrick Lencioni book.
I'm sure that it was Dan that told us, but he probably got it from somewhere else because he used to read a lot. So, but okay. But so Steve, you had a delegation question then.
No, I covered what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, so it was the same as mine, the abdication. I just can remember the term.
Absolutely. Well, we've had many discussions on this particular topic.
Yes, with me being at the receiving
Well,
end.
I've got a question then.
Sure.
I have a question. With this particular advent or this new change, I have found that my leadership skills are starting to be honed a little more than they have in the past. So looking towards both you and Juliet, Matthew, yourself with a bigger practice, is this something that grows with you, this uncomfortableness?
People in general make you uncomfortable, right? And you've got more people to manage. I mean, I managed a team of close to 30 at one company I was at. And oh my God, like you really had to, I basically what I did is I assigned one champion to be my buffer between the rest. And then she kind of kept them in line, so to speak, the different lines, so that basically if somebody had to get something to me, they brought it to her. So I think eventually you're going to want to insulate yourself the bigger you get and find that key person to be your go-to person, to be your operations manager, so to speak.
I think we
works
lost
well.
Tammatha.
Tammatha just fell out of the cloud.
Oh, she did. It's that
She
dark
delegated
desktop.
her listening skills.
She delegated and disappeared.
Yeah.
Was that she delegated and disappeared?
No, that was definitely abdication.
That was definitely
So was it something I said, Tam?
I don't know what it was, dear.
But management
take
skills
full
are all about
responsibility.
people. Yeah. People are your
Yeah, I
toughest
obviously
resource
blew that
to
up.
manage. So that's why it feels different. The more people you bring on, and it's only going to get better. I think the reason that I'm able to manage people these days is just because of that experience. I'm a solo right now, but when I go to my clients now, I'm able to bring them that sort of experience. And it really does often come down to people. I mean, you got to get your processes in place, obviously, but yeah. And congratulations. It's pretty cool. I love talking to you about these.
Okay, so Steve, do you have any thoughts for Tammatha?
Other than to keep doing what you're doing and keep being you and keep being true to yourself. No, I don't think so. It sounds like you are on the right path.
Aw.
Absolutely.
That is really sweet, Steve.
So I guess
I take that
agree.
as that's good.
from my perspective, I think all I would say is the fact that you are aware that your leadership skills are needing to change or that you're being pushed in different directions is the first step, because a lot of people don't even see that they need to change what they're doing. So I think that's important, and you're already there, and being open to growing and not thinking, well, I've always done it this way, and that's the way I need to do it.
See, Juliet, I've learned you can't be that way. I mean, if you're not open to change, if you're not open to growing as a person, how can you possibly ask your team to do the same?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. So
Like
you got this thing. No problem at all.
The funny thing about management is that when you're a manager, it seems that everybody thinks when you have that title that you have all of the answers. And that's not true. What happens is when you're a manager, you are just really good at putting your head on a swivel all the time and absorbing as much knowledge that is sent your direction as possible to make immediate decisions. We still, like, hopefully experience has helped us to better understand to make the right decisions, but there's still a big aspect of it where we only live once, right? The thing that happens tomorrow, I haven't experienced it before. So there's still always an aspect of insecurity or unsureness of what we're doing, but we just have to trust into our skills and trust into our team behind us, because it's, together we all succeed in business. So
now that's a great point. And I think also, I mean, we're very fortunate in this day and age to have forums like this, where you are able to, you're having a challenge managing a team and you don't know what to do, or you have to make a decision in your firm and you don't know what to do, but you now have this huge tribe of people that you can go to. And 20 years ago, I mean, that you had nothing. You were, okay, well, you flip a coin. Maybe in some cases you had a mentor, but it was very rare compared to the resources that we have now. So I would certainly encourage, Tammatha and everyone that find your tribe that you have that are either, on the same journey with you or ahead of you in the journey, so that you can draw on the experience and the knowledge that they have already. So you're not having to start from scratch.
And search outside of our industry. I know we like to talk with other accountants, but we have to expand our knowledge so much further and talk to everybody.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Steve and I attended and it wasn't this spring, it was the spring before. So all the conferences that we've been going to over the last couple of years have all been accounting related, Scaling New Heights and IPBC, QB Connect Toronto, San Jose, and they've all, Accountex, they've all been industry related. And last February, so February 2018, we attended a conference, it was for business owners, but it was not industry related at all. It was the Business Excellence
Yeah, Business Excellence Awards.
And we went, again, pure fluke. It was our coach told us to, put in an application for a nomination for some awards, and we made it to the finals. And so then we went down to the conference, and it was so mind-boggling.
You got to meet Darren Hardy.
Yeah, we got to meet Darren Hardy, but it was so mind-boggling to attend a conference where everyone wasn't talking accounting, but everybody was talking moving their business forward, and it was a lot more of a general conversation because everybody was in different industries. And so it wasn't industry specific, and the industry specific ones are absolutely important. But I think, what Matthew said, is you do have to expand your knowledge to beyond the industry. And I thought it was probably one of the better conferences that we've ever attended, because it gave us a whole different perspective of solving challenges within our industry, but by someone who was not in our industry.
Yeah, you kind of break in my heart, Juliet. I was a member of the Calgary Chamber for close to 5 years. I just recently canceled my membership.
Okay.
They changed leadership probably a year ago. They were in a small business sort of cycle for about five to 7 years, and they had these really cool conferences that obviously had nothing to do with accounting, but they were always had kind of a tech futuristic angle. So there was a good tie-in with our community. So when the president decided to leave, they brought in a new one, and she's gone kind of back to the big businesses, and then all the small businesses are feeling kind of shunned. So I don't really have much to, and I want to expand my reach locally again, because I have a big community here that I've kind of lost touch with because I don't have anywhere to go now. So I'm sort of trying to find that non-accounting conference. And let's face it, I mean, we have a great time out here in the QuickBooks world, but I'm not going to call it saturated, but I'm pretty full. I definitely need some of that, and I'm not really sure where to look now. So are there any good conferences out east? Or I mean, you guys are all out in Toronto. Do they get...
The one that we did, I don't remember, where was it? It was in the US.
San Diego.
Oh, okay. I could use some of
and
that.
It's in February. It's always in February every year. So I'm happy to send you the link.
The problem there is I've got this thing called England coming up the first week of March. So,
but that's industry. That's an industry conference again.
Yeah, but it's England, right, Tam?
Yes, sir.
All right, Tam, are you going
I don't know.
London as well?
I'm going to go to England. Yeah, I'm going to go to England. I'm going regardless. I'm going to go to England. Well, but I have to agree with you, though, Juliet. I've started to expand beyond the industry-related conferences and started to branch out to broader, more niche-oriented conferences that are demographics that I highly feel an affinity for. I spent a lot of time really digging deep on the type of customer that I want to service, the type of person, the type of business. And I'm finding industry-related conferences that have nothing to do with what I do, but what they do for a living. And I attend.
That's where you find clients too, right? It's not just learning new things, but you're going to start finding those really cool entrepreneurs that need your services. Yeah. And you might end up with a whole new niche by trying that.
That's not why I did it. I go for the learning experience. I want to help other businesses broaden their horizons when it comes to the tech availability that we can give them, but I'm not here to sell you accounting services. Let me just broaden your horizons and show you what's available to you and how you can benefit from it. That's the only reason I'm going.
That's when they turn around and go, that's when they turn around and they go, will you do it for us? Because that's what I find when you go to these conferences that are non-industry specific. And it's amazing how people hook up. That's, I'm looking for marketing people, or, if you're looking for operations people, you never know who you're going to find. And it's that like-minded, comes back to that like-minded sense that we all find that people gravitate.
Yeah.
And it is a good side effect. I mean, a lot of the networking I do locally have turned into clients, but I never walk into the room thinking, I'm looking for clients tonight. It's just a good byproduct of being a good networker, right?
The two things that oh, sorry, Matthew, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'll just be quick. The two things that I noticed, because I also like to try to go outside of our industry, is one, I love meeting new people that I've never met before. But two, man alive, does it give you some sticker shock when you see the price tag on outside conferences and realize just how spoiled you are,
totally.
right?
Because ours are all subsidized by the software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right?
speaking to that point, I went to Latino Tax Festival in Las Vegas this year. And while I was there, have you ever heard of paparazzi before?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm like, paparazzi, where are all the cameras? Maybe they're good camera gear. No, we're talking like $5 jewelry. And it's this huge multi-level marketing aspect. And I had a stack of business cards like this. And I'm like, every single one of these people are small business owners.
Yep.
So I've tried to figure out very quickly how the structure worked to talk to a couple of the higher tiered people that had a lot of members below them and said, let me do a free webinar for your people to tell them how they can set up their accounting to try to capture more business. And it was an ironic thing. It was there for an accounting conference, but this other one was so overpowering. I mean, the opportunity was like through the roof. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Tammatha?
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Suzanne.
Only if, sorry, I missed a section there. So only if it hasn't been discussed yet. How about client retention? Like, are you moving over existing clients to new software, or are you just leaving? Are they the desktop ones that you're going to leave on desktop? You said, I know there's a group of clients that don't know what software they're on, so you'll move those over. But what about the remaining ones? What's your plan for them?
Well, it's funny. We've started to have conversations, or I'm purposely having conversations with all of the bookkeeping clients. And if there is an affinity for Sage or a desktop product for a specific reason, i.e., they are just not a fit for cloud, then and only then are we going to keep them on desktop. Outside of that, we have a meeting set up with Intuit on January the 9th, where we're setting up a plan on who is the most appropriate to move over, when to move them over, doing them in groups of 5 so that we're not doing this massive change at a really bad time of year, and slowly making a transition to make it easier for the team themselves, and then teaching them slowly how to service these customers and get back time in their day. I have 2 team members right now that literally shake because their stress levels are so high. And that is not a way to live your life.
No.
If I can give them back some semblance of peace in their job, then they're not going to come in and have that look of fear in their eyes and like a dog's been chasing them. And that is so sad. And I think technology is going to help them for that. It's going to ease off on this paper shuffling that they're doing. I'm surprised these people don't have paper cuts everywhere. I can show you pictures. My first day in there, I literally had claustrophobia by the number of boxes stacked 4 high of paper everywhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I was accustomed to anymore.
Do you think
Thank you for your pause in your description. I'm sorry, real quickly. Thank you for your pause in your description when you were thinking about the feelings and the emotion that person was going through. Like, that was powerful. Sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk.
Do you think you're going to, when we moved over to cloud, we kind of took the low-hanging fruit first, and then we attempted to move over some of the other ones. And even as far as like this year, we've still lost a few that just they couldn't make the change. Like, is that something you're expecting, or?
I'm expecting that we're going to have some attrition of 3 to 8% per year. And some of that in this first year, I'm expecting is going to be because of management change. Honestly, we are being, or I am personally being very conscientious of the business, the type of business, and the owner themselves. Are they ready for this type? Are they ready for this type of movement? If they're not, we're not moving them. It's for me, it's about the client. It's about what they need.
Yeah,
I would love wholeheartedly to move everyone over to cloud, but realistically, that's not going to happen.
yeah, I just accepted a quote for a large client this week, or sent a quote that they accepted, I say. And my biggest thing, I actually hesitated on even quoting them because they were desktop, but they had good reasons for it. I agreed with why. And I hesitated, and I'm like, no, it's my business. I can do it if I want to. It was like, in the end, and it was so dumb because you're so hardwired to like, have to go to the cloud, have to go to the cloud, have to go to the cloud. And I'm like, no, I don't. And so I did actually.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's a large client, and it feels weird because I'm going backwards. It felt like going backwards a little bit. Like I have this one bookkeeper who has the most time for this client, and she doesn't own desktop. She's been hired since we were on cloud. So I'm like, where's the training? It was a very conscious decision. I thought about it for a week before I even was willing to send the quote, just because it's almost hardwired to go cloud or go cloud or go home kind of thing. So
Okay, so
Suzanne,
interesting.
I have to agree with you.
So why did you decide? Because we were on that journey with you as you made such a conscious decision of moving from desktop to cloud, and even were willing to lose clients who weren't making that transition to you. Why?
So, I have lost some clients because they didn't, but this client's fun. Like what they have going on, they have a large group of companies, and they're doing something that I haven't quite done before. It's kind of in my, just not that. So it seems a lot of fun. It's also, I have a bookkeeper that wants more work as well. And so this would just automatically, because it is such a large client, give her a chunk of hours right away. That's not really a big thing, but because I think I'd fill her up anyway within the next few months, but it gives her something right off the bat. And it's also, but I met this person and I really liked her. Like I just really liked her, and I liked how she does it, and what her approach is and how she's doing things. And, she's an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and I wanted to work with her, and she had good reasons for not going. We had that discussion at length, and it just, yeah.
And most importantly, Suzanne, it's your business and you can do whatever the hell you want.
Because I wanted to, damn it. But it really was. It was really hard for me to, in the end, I'm like, the only reason I'm not doing this is because as I've been so hardwired the past 2 years to not do desktop. It's the first desktop client I've accepted in 2 years. So
that's awesome. Okay. Just wanted to understand the logic behind it, and perfect.
Yeah, it was more that I want to kind of, I don't know how much logic it was, but
no, but like Steve said, it's your business and you can do whatever the hell you want to.
Can I sneak in one quick question before the end? Because I know we're getting close. Questions for Tammatha. Tammatha, you've made this decision. You've been intentional about it for 2 years. You're going through the transition. You are giving and listening and helping everybody join you on this journey. What are you doing for you? How are you fueling your insides and energizing yourself to give yourself the strength to get through this next 9 months that you've said it's going to complete the transition? What are you doing for you?
I have a mentor, but I also have a business coach.
Okay.
And these people support me. I speak with them more frequently, probably, than I speak to Ray.
Stop it. Not true.
No, not true. But at least in this particular sense, I do. They ground me in a way that it gives me a bit more of a direction than than even sometimes what I expect. Right. So when I started this, there was this bank of fog in front of me. I didn't know what I was getting into. I was stepping into an abyss of unknown. And here were these people who had absolutely no idea about what it is that I do. Yes, I'm a certified professional bookkeeper. I'm all of these wonderful things, and I help all of these beautiful people. But their sense of business skills have been able to help direct me in where I'm going. And that is where I'm getting my strength, besides my family, which thank God I have them, because if I didn't, this journey would not be where it's at.
Yeah. I
have to give them that.
Excellent. And a great question to end off, Jennifer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great question.
So we
Great
are
answer.
at 9:00, the end of our Wine and Whiskey Wednesday and the end of our decade. So we'll have been doing Wine and Whiskey Wednesday for a year when we come back in January, which is awesome. Wishing you all a fabulous holiday season with family and friends, however you celebrate. Hope you all take some time off for yourselves, some downtime, and relax and enjoy. And cheers, everyone. Have a fabulous holiday.
All the best,
Cheers.
everyone. Take
Merry
care.
Christmas, everyone.
All the best. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.